What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Good Wolf Project. I'm your host, Jerry Scarlato. Today, I want to talk to you about the importance of being clear on your definition of success. More specifically, on using your own definition of success instead of the definition of those around you or the definition of what society tells you what success should look like. Because you can get in trouble on either end of the spectrum on this. If you feel like you want more, but society is telling you should want less, you can feel unfulfilled and feel unhappy if you're like, well, I feel this urge to satisfy everybody else and want less. I feel like I'm going to be a bad person if I want more. I feel like I'm not virtuous if I want more and I want to keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and stay here. You'll be unhappy. You'll be unfulfilled. On the other end, if you're totally happy with having less, if you're totally happy with, having a small business or staying at a level in a career or being in a career that maybe doesn't pay a whole lot, but you get to fulfill this purpose that you feel is important to you, but you feel this outside urge to have more, then if you go for more, there's very high likelihood that you will be unhappy and you will be unfulfilled. So that's why it's so important for you to start with a definition of success that is based on what you want, because there are so many people around you that are going to try and pull you in 1,000 different directions. Your parents being the closest of those people, your spouse also being close if you have a spouse, siblings, friends, and family, anybody really close to you, they will drag you in 1,000 different directions, and they will find a way to shame you. They will figure out a way to get you to believe their side of what success looks like instead of you making your own decision. And that is such an important idea to understand, because we so easily look at people around us as so knowledgeable and, filled with wisdom and filled with, they've been around on earth. They want what's best for me. Why would I not, take their opinion and use it and transfer it to myself? And there's a chance that maybe they do have a good opinion. Maybe they do have a good idea. Maybe they do have wisdom in that area. But there's more of a chance that they don't. And I don't say that as a judgment to your parents or your friends or anybody like that, because I don't know them. I don't know you. I don't know them. And, I have no clue what the outcomes in their life are. All that I can say, all that I can look at is the general outcomes of most of society. And for most of society, we get stuck in a wheel of just showing up every day, not necessarily going after what we want, letting external pressures push against us and define what we do. And that's what a lot of people do. That's what most people do. So if you want to not be like most people, if you have this aspiration to do something different, if you feel this urge to have this big grand goal and this huge vision, but everybody around you is like, oh, you're a fucking idiot if you tried to do that. That's dumb. What? Be realistic. Be realistic for just 1 second, Johnny. Johnny, you're not going to be able to do that. Look at the world. It's just going to tear you down. There's just absolutely no way you can accomplish. Yeah. Ask them what they have accomplished in their life, how hard they've actually tried to do something and make something happen. And on the other end, understand that you're right. The world will conspire against you, but at the same time, the world will also conspire towards you. There are two opposing forces that will come and they will work both against you and for you. The question is, where are you putting your momentum? If you put your momentum and your efforts if you put your momentum, your efforts, and your mind into forces that work for you and building momentum in that direction, then you have a higher likelihood of continuing to move forward, even when the world pushes against you, even when the world punches you in the face, even when the world knocks you down. You have a better chance of continuing to move forward if you let your own momentum push you forward, but you have to know what success looks like for you. You have to define it for yourself. You cannot let outside sources start to pull against you. So there are 3 buckets of people, if you will, that don't know what success looks like for them. And I say that specifically because there are, of course, people that know what success looks like for them. If you look at people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs, before he passed away, they knew exactly what success looked like, and they had just a laser beam focus on that. And Elon Musk still has a laser beam focus on it. So they have a focus on it, and that's what they focus on. They know what it looks like, and they go. And those people have the success that they want. As a matter of fact, I would tell you, probably in their minds, they're not even close to the level of success that they want. But to us, to the layman, the average person, you're like, yep, that person's got it. But it's because they were clear. They knew. There were plenty of people who push against them. Regularly, people push against people like that who have a clear vision of what success looks like, which is completely different than what the rest of the world tells them it should be. And they just go. They just do it. They focus. So there are those people that know what success looks like to them, and they are fulfilling that currently. So I'm not talking to you. I am talking to you because you can still get something out of this whole conversation. But who I'm specifically talking to are the people, the majority that don't know what success looks like to them, that is not clear on what they actually want in life and is letting external forces or internal forces dictate what they want in life. Either someone, something external to them that is telling them or how they believe the world works, which is probably unrealistic, that is giving them the belief that they can't achieve it. Or an internal lack of confidence or lack of belief in yourself or lack of worthiness that you should or can have a level of success that you want. So there's those factors that we have to deal with whenever we're thinking about defining a level of success for ourselves. On the other end of that, there are the people who know what success looks like on a more moderate level. I don't want to say a lower level because it's not low in the sense that it makes you a worse person. If you have achieved your level of success, no matter what that looks like, and it makes you happy and you're fulfilled and your life is dandy and you're like, hey, this is freaking great, then you have achieved your life outcome. It shouldn't matter what anybody else thinks. It shouldn't matter if you're like, yeah, I got this little restaurant that I go to and we're open from 8 to 12 and we're happy with what we got. And after 12, I just go and I do a little bit of work with the restaurant. We clean up, we make sure we order everything. Everything's nice and clean. We have great customer service, but that's all we do. And the restaurant does $250,000 a year. And that's great. And people are like, oh, well, don't you want to grow it more? Well, no. I mean, if that's what you want and that's what has fulfilled you, then yes, that's you have achieved the level of success. So there's those people as well who on the more moderate side, they have found their place. They have found their groove and they're happy with where they are. So going back to who we're talking to, there are three kinds of people or three buckets of people who don't know what success looks like to them. There are those people who want more, but for some reason have convinced themselves that they can't have more. There are those people who want less, but for some reason have convinced themselves that they need more. And then there are those people who just don't know. They're like, I don't really know what I want. Do I want more or do I want less? And if you're in any of those three buckets, which a lot of people are, which is okay, it is part of life. If you feel confused and you're like, I don't really know what level of success I need to have in life, I feel like I want this, but I keep being told that I need that. Whatever that looks like to you, understand that it's normal. Many people, even the Elon Musks of the world, started in that scenario. Now, maybe they started a lot earlier. Maybe it was when they were 15 or 16 that they were like, hey, I'm not really sure. And then they got going and then like, yes, I know. So, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're still not sure, you always have the option to start to define what it looks like to you and then to start to work toward it. So if you are one of those three people, if you fit in one of those three buckets, there are things you can do. The goal is to start to clarify what success looks like to you, what a good quality outcome in life looks like to you, or It can just be success in a specific area of life, what that looks like to you. But generally speaking, you want to look at your life in general and you're like, how do I want my lifestyle to be? And then what does success look like inside of that with all of these other buckets of life? With my wealth, with my work, what does it look like? With my energy, my health, my fitness, what level do I need to get at there? With my love, my relationships with those around me, what level do I need to get at there so that I can then have this full life that feels fulfilling and I'm happy with how things are going. It's not like you're always going to be that way. You may end up changing your mind down the road, which is totally fine. As long as you're not changing your mind every week or every month, maybe not even every year, but you can change your mind from season to season, which is maybe I don't know, 3 to 5, maybe 5 to 8 year time frame. You're going to change your mind on what success looks like, which is okay too. But in the moment, ask yourself, start to clarify what that means to you. And here's a couple of questions you can ask yourself to start to clarify what success looks like. And this is so important, like I said, because you have one life to live. You have this one opportunity to make the life that you want, to create the life that you want. You have this one shot. And if you get to the end of it and you're like, man, if I just would have, you have these levels of regrets, that's going to hurt more than if you try now and you happen to fail a few times and you have to overcome a few obstacles. Because once you get to the end, you know it's the end. Now, if you start trying and you have a few obstacles and you fail a few times, you close a business that you had for 10 years. That was me. You get a divorce, which you were married for 10 years. That was me. You do these things, you learn some lessons, and then you eventually get to what you want. Yeah, you had to go through a few obstacles along the way. Yes, you had to feel a level of sadness and discomfort along the way. But when you get to the end, you know it's the end. And dying with regret, that seems much harder than just having to overcome a few quote failures in life. But you're only a failure when you stop, when you give up, when you don't try anymore. So there's things you can do, and you can change, and you can start to define, and you can move in a direction. Sorry, my nose keeps itching. If you're watching on YouTube, it looks like I'm probably picking my nose. But anyway, grab a quick drink. So there are some things you can do, some questions you can start to ask yourself so that you can start to clarify what success looks like to you. And I keep repeating myself when I say to you because it starts with blocking out the noise. It starts with blocking out what everyone else is telling you that you should do. So the first question that you can ask is, if I had no external noise, no external feedback, no external pressure pushing against me, what does success look like to me? What would a happy life look like to me? What would a fulfilled life look like to me? And the best way to do this is to go find a place where you're not surrounded by those things that put pressure against you. Don't do this in your house where you feel pressure, where literally the people are maybe in the same area, the same room, the same house. You'll feel that pressure, like that energy will be around you. Go outside of the context to answer these questions so that you can have a clear mind. You don't literally feel the energy, the outside pressure of those around you. So without that external pressure, without that external feedback, without those external opinions, what does success look like to me? What does happiness look like to me? What does a fulfilled life look like to me? If you're just looking at one particular area of life, if you're like, hey, I'm trying to figure out what this business looks like, ask yourself, what does success look like to you in business? What does it look like to you? Does it look like a franchise? Does it look like $100 million business? Or does it look like a $250,000 business? And all you got to do is show up. And when you go on vacation, you shut it down for the week you're on vacation, and it's no big deal, and you're happy with that. And when you get back, you can work some more, and that's okay. Or do you want a business that you have other people and the business kind of runs on its own? And you can walk away not walk away completely, but when you go on vacation, the business still runs. You got people there, you have systems in place. That takes a different level of business, takes more effort, takes more money, takes more people. And that's why it's important to ask this question: what does success look like? Because then you can look at the next question, which is, okay, well, what is it required? What is required to get to that level? Which may change your answer. If you're like, yeah, man, I want this $100 million business. That'd be great. And then you start breaking it down. You're like, oh, well, damn. Okay. Got to deal with all these people, got to have, human resources and these systems and marketing systems and sales systems and so on and so forth. And, you have all these different pieces and parts that you have to have together. Maybe it makes sense to get a partner. Maybe, you got to have different levels and managers and so on. You go, oh, I don't know. That gives me a little bit of anxiety thinking about that. Maybe you change your mind. Maybe on the other end of it, if you're like, yeah, just this small thing would be good, and you start breaking it down, you're like, yeah, but that I want to be able to do more things in life. I want to be able to help more people. I want to be able to reach more people. Then maybe you're like, okay, well, I know I need to take my dream a little higher. I need my dream to expand a little more because that, smaller dream isn't going to be able to fulfill that. So you can start to parse out what all of that looks like by just asking yourself, if I didn't have the outside pressure of other people, what would success look like? And that requires you setting aside two things. One is the outside pressure, which I keep talking about more. The pressure and thoughts and beliefs of those around you. Two are your own thoughts and beliefs and limiting beliefs about yourself. So you have limiting beliefs about how the world works, which is taught to you from everybody else around you. And then you have limiting beliefs about yourself, what you're capable of, what you're worthy of. Are you worthy of more success? Can you actually achieve it? Do you have the confidence to keep moving forward? Do you have the confidence to build the skills and abilities that are needed? And that many times is much harder to overcome than the outside noise. The outside noise, you can go, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. The inside noise is much harder to overcome. You will always be your biggest obstacle. I don't say that in a bad way. You're you have you always for the rest of your life. So that's why it's so important to grow yourself and to know yourself and to ask these questions so that you can know those barriers inside of you and start to improve them, start to work through them, or start to work around them, however you need to do it in order to get what you want out of life. So you need to be able to block out when you're answering these questions, which is all you're doing right now is answering questions. You're not planning anything. You're not doing anything like that. You're answering questions so you can get clarity. When you're answering these questions, you need to block out the external noise and you need to block out the internal noise. So internal voices, when you say, yes, this is what I want to be able to achieve, and that internal voice that goes, ha, 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 yeah, right, you can't do that, you need to block that out because that is unrealistic. You are not being realistic when you tell yourself that I can't achieve that. You are being unrealistic because there are many, many thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of people that have achieved the thing that you want to achieve in your life, and you can do it. So you need to block those voices out, both the external and the internal. Okay, so start with that question. Once you've answered that question, then you need to ask, is my current level of effort, my current level of output, does it match the level of success that I want? If you want more and you're kind of doing things, but sometimes your attention goes over here and sometimes your attention goes over there, and you spend a lot of time playing video games and you don't do a lot over here, but you want more out of your business or you want more out of your career or you want more out of your health and you're not putting as much effort into it, then you have to be real with yourself and answer whether or not your current level of effort is matching the expectation that you have out of it. I would not tell you to lower your expectation. I would tell you to raise your level of effort, because if you want it, If you want it, you can have it, but you just got to put the effort into it. You got to go and you got to start to strive for it. And it starts by asking that question and being real with that question. My current level of effort, is it in alignment with what I want? And then you can ask, are my current skills and abilities in alignment with what I want? Do I have the right skills and abilities to be able to achieve what I want? And I can tell you almost certainly that this answer is always going to be no. And again, I don't say that as a judgment against you to tell you you're a bad person, but who you are today can't achieve what you want to achieve tomorrow. It is only real. You don't have everything that you need to have. So if you want a higher level of success in any area of your life, you'll have to build some skills and abilities, but you have to first be real with yourself and understand that that gap is there. If you're not real with yourself and you don't understand it and you don't take the time to recognize it, then you can't close the gap. And that's all you're constantly doing when you're trying to progress, is constantly close those gaps. I need this thing. I need more money. Cool. Close the gap. Figure out how to get it. Get more revenue in. Find more partners. Go and get a loan, whatever that looks like. I want to lose more weight, but I don't have the time, quote unquote. Great. Close that gap. Start to delete some things, delegate some things to other people so that they can take some things off of your plate so that you can open up the time to be able to exercise and put effort into your health. So you can start to find that path to success that you want in life if you just take the time to ask some questions, be real with yourself, block out the noise around you, block out the noise in your head, that voice in the back of your head that wants to tell you that you can't do it, that you're not worthy, that you're not capable. Block that fucker out and just listen. Just answer the question. What do I want to do? Answer the question. And then recognize that you can do it. But if you don't currently have the level of effort that you need and you don't have the skills and abilities, then you know what you need to adjust. You know you need more effort, and you know you need more skills and abilities. That's it. It's just feedback. Once you start to break these things down, then you can decide what it looks like to you. Decide what it looks like. If you want it to be less, again, I don't want to use the word less, but if you want it to be less than what the world is telling you, hey, you need to be more successful, you need to keep driving forward, you need to make sure that you're always making more money or you're always getting help. If you're like, no, I'm not totally happy being where I am, cool. Then you know. Is your level of success or your level of effort match what you want? And if you're happy where you are and your effort is consistent, cool, you're there. Totally fine. You decide. That's it. That's what this life is about. Now, as I wrap up, I will throw this caveat out there that human beings are biologically built for progress. Human beings are they have biologically evolved to want progress. Our ancestors literally had to constantly progress from thing to thing, from place to place, constantly looking for more food, constantly looking for more safety, constantly looking for more shelter. They had to constantly progress. They had no other choice but to move to the next goal. Where do we move to now to be safe? Where do we move to now to find food? Where do we move to now to have shelter? They had to always have those things. So it is biologically ingrained in us. It is absolutely 100% there. So the caveat is, if you are telling yourself that you don't want more simply for the fact of trying to convince yourself that you're happy with where you are because underneath of it all, you really just don't believe that you're capable of doing it, you're not being real with yourself. Be real with yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, start to take action just today. 1%. See this hat? 1% every day. Start to take action. Go and download the wrong one. The 1% process. Go to goodwolfproject.us/the process. Go download the process, and that'll take you through literally a 3-step process that you do every day. And all you're doing is focusing on that day, that one day, to do what you can do to get better. Because currently you don't believe you can do it because it feels big, it feels gigantic, it feels like too much. And you're like, well, I've never achieved anything like that. Well, no, of course you haven't. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're dumb. And it does definitely not mean that you can't do it. It just means you haven't done it yet. That's all that means. If you just focus, though, on doing is what you can today, follow these 3 steps so that you can get better today and you can improve, then tomorrow do the same thing, then you can start to build that belief in yourself, because that belief is built with daily actions, with daily steps, 1 step at a time, over and over again, constantly showing up, continuing to follow through, and starting to build that belief in yourself. So if you're trying to convince yourself that you don't want more, but really underneath of it all, you just don't believe in yourself, you are not being real, you're not being authentic, and you will have that regret at the end of your life. So I will throw that in there just to give you something to think about. I know the feeling, and I'm not judging. Understand. Be real with yourself as you answer these questions so that you can find what you want and then start to work toward it. That's what I got for you today. Get out there and get going so that you can achieve what you want in this life. And here's to your 1% success. Here's to your 1% growth every day.